We are a very diverse people, so that is inevitable. We have, you know how many tribes we have? I know there are more than 400. I can't remember how many exactly there are. So we are extremely diverse.
I don't use it as emotion, but as an almost intuition
Okay.
that there is an attack on the African culture that might result in important loss for the African people. Number one, African wisdom that I think that is general, almost cross-cultural.
It transcends, yes, of desire.
Is that
The barriers of land, yeah.
the community is responsible for raising proper gentlemen, proper individuals.
The betterment of the community is directly linked to my personal betterment. So it is in my utmost interest to make sure that everybody around me is also well.
The only animal who is so concerned about the ticking of a clock with a subdivision of time that was completely imaginary, completely manufactured is us.
All right. So today we're talking about a way of life for the African people. I don't know where the conversation will go, but we know that as you've been following us, something useful will definitely be coming out of this. So hopefully indeed. What was the first inspiration in you when you knew about this topic? What came to your mind? I have a few things as well, but I want to hear you too.
I read on wisdom.
Yeah.
The idea of what came to mind was perception, perspective. If you go on YouTube and type African wisdom, what you get is a bunch of proverbs.
Okay.
African proverbs. I understand the role that proverbs play in the context of Africa in general, but given the idea of African wisdom, it was left me uneasy because what the statement itself does, it blurs Africa into one thing. But Africa is one of the most diverse places in the world. Africa is extremely diverse. I dare say it's more diverse than Europe is. Culturally. Far more diverse than America. So to describe something as to say African wisdom, in a way, is to, I guess, try to find the commonalities between multiple, extremely diverse cultures. And I don't eat people who pose this question are thinking of that at all. They'll realize that even in the Congo, I cannot say Congolese wisdom because my tribe is completely different than yours. We have different story, different idioms. There is a general understanding. This is a spirit of the wisdom of Africa that you can maybe capture, or the wisdom of Congo that you can capture, but we are very different. So just both attacking the subject of African wisdom feels inaccurate to me. That's the first thing they can demand.
We are a very diverse people, so that is inevitable. We have, do you know how many tribes we have? I know there are more than 400. I can't remember how many exactly there are. So we are extremely diverse. The place where my mind went first was, and I visited a few African countries. Obviously not all 50 something of them, but there are a few things. Indeed, we will definitely. There are a few things that even in the places that I've seen, even in the being here in America, going to school in America, you run into a lot of African people, the diaspora. And in fact, many of them are congregated in clubs, in social clubs. And it does not leave me indifferent, the fact that there are some common things that we tend to do, a few basic things. And some of those also apply to other cultures, other countries, China, Japan, or anything. But there are a few things that have shaped my life that I've observed also in other fellow Africans my age. And I wanted to share that with the people. That's the angle that I came up with. And in fact, as I also did more research preparing for this, I even settled on a concept that many people have heard of, and that I didn't really hear of directly, but I grew up in it, and it made sense later on in my life. Language, words are just arbitrary. We slap words on concepts and ideas. Meaning that's what I mean. And then from there, you can link back into the past. What things fit into this word, and we come to a consensus. This is what this word means. But anyway, yeah, that's where I came. That's the angle that I looked at this issue from.
Yeah, but for me, the first thing that came to mind was not what I wanted to discuss actually, because I know when it comes to the subject of African freedom, there's many things that I had to discuss. I had to discuss this healing, not healing, no, not healing. This feeling, this I don't want to use feeling as emotion, but as an almost intuition.
Okay.
That there is an attack on the African culture that might result in an important loss for the African people. In a way, that's what I wanted to. I was looking at as I was looking at what in an effort to become more modern, in an effort of because being modern is useful, you know. Being industrial is useful and necessary, you know. But the creation of cities and cities having cultures that are mainly copies of our sort culture is problematic, but cities are important. So there is this loss of the essence of what Africa used to be in a formulation of what a person is. Creating personality, creating what matters in human being. I would call it the word I'm looking for is a moral code. A moral code of what an African person was. That if you left this village and encounter the village of strangers, there's something that you almost expected will happen. You don't be welcome. If you need to be welcome, you'll be fed, or they give you a place to stay, for example. You know, and a lot about moral codes that were at the base of what African culture is are being completely erased by modernization. And our generation is really just moving forward too quickly without considering the consequences of losing those things about our past and our history. We do not share our history enough. And that's what I really want to talk about. But I think we can do both.
Definitely. The conversation will go with both forward flows. And what you said just now makes me realize in hindsight that I fell victim for that very thing. I'm married to somebody who's not from Africa. And I remember around the time of our wedding, she kept urging me. Well, I've seen, obviously we have YouTube now, we have internet. Because well, I've seen African weddings, whatever, even that is inaccurate. But for the sake of this conversation, let's just take it to good at that.
The vibe is the vibe, though.
Yes. I've seen African weddings and I've seen many rituals and ceremonies and so many justices and so many, it's a multi-part event. I was like, she's asking me, are you sure you don't want to incorporate some of those things?
She's a legend. When I say Meg is a legend, people you understand. So Meg is a legend.
I says, are you sure that, though we are here in America, we're about to get married here, are you sure there are things that you've seen growing up that you know that people do, that you want to incorporate? And the response was, it's all just a waste of money and resources and time for people. And that was, I genuinely felt that way. And I thought I was being enlightened, forward thinking. All these things that we do. My thing was basically all the things that we do back home and all these, you're going to take 2 weeks of somebody's life to come attend your event. And this event results in him beating you or cheating on you or anything. It's like, does this really matter in the end? That was, how old was I when I got married? That was around 7 years ago. So yeah, I was 24, something like that. And that is, I don't have many regrets. In fact, we talked about regrets earlier. And regrets is too big of a term. But that was lack of wisdom. Not honoring my culture, understanding that it is important. In fact, culture is everywhere. In any group that you're a part of, you are united because of that thing called culture. And not honoring my parents, not because I came. Now I look back on that with a twinge of regret, but that can be repaired. Our 10th anniversary, 10th wedding anniversary, which I'll do a fully African thing, do the whole thing, and try to redeem ourselves, as it were. Jokingly, obviously, but yes.
You better believe that when my turn comes, I shall
It's in the right way.
And I'm not one for festivities for these things, but the culture, so even the culture of weddings. We're talking about African wisdom. We can go inward, we talk about multiple part of our cultures that we clean as the wisdom, not the younger side of it. Now, for example, the culture of weddings is something you're talking about. All the games around it, all the intentions around it, is such deep wisdom that I did not get before. Because I didn't look at it in the context of what it was supposed to be. I looked at it in the context of a modern kid who is not from the village. That's village people thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand what it meant exactly, what we did. So I once sat with I pitched this to my dad, which is strange. Many years later we were just in a conversation and speaking to me about the traditional wedding of my sister was older guy got married recently. And how they had to bring all the uncles and me being the older brother, I was to receive a gift, and all the dance around it. Now, as a mature man and also a tad wiser, a tad more curious, I looked into our traditional wedding ceremonies, and I had a question: why do we do it that way? Why did we do it that way? All these dances, and it came out that the reason why marriages were successful at a much higher rate than, and to this day, in our deeper society as successful, is because of the engagement that marriages were. So the reason we did all these dances is because it wasn't just the two kids who were getting married. It was two community meeting. And for example, the cause of diary. I remember I was in America and a lady was talking to me about how diary is a bad thing. Also that. Then I was like, my instinct was like, no, it's not the bad thing. Why is the bad thing? And they spoke about them in India, where is the family of the girl who is diary. For example.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's misvaluing the women, and apparently it caused in some ways some father not holding 12 daughters. I don't know the Indian culture. Indians forgive me. I don't know. I'm just repeating what I was told in this instance with great uproar, because I don't know your culture, but I'm sure it plays a role. But in my culture, I was like, damn, is a beautiful thing. So what you're doing is that you are showing to the family from which you're taking the daughter that this kid will be safe. We'll take care of that. And there's something beautiful about our do a diary is that it's not just the kid who's getting married who gives it. The way it comes, it has to come with the uncle. It has to come with from the uncles, from the grandparents, the cousins. So you realize that your daughter, because you're giving it to a new family, she's going to be provided for so many angles. She's going to be safe. She's going to be protected. So that was the idea behind diary. You wanted to know that this kid has backing. He has the support of his community. And because of him, our community are now one. And he went to both ways. So this wisdom to that, and as I was saying, I'm worried that is being lost because there is no an effort to clarify that losing it is a danger.
To me, even if that's something I learned. I didn't know that was the reason why we had diaries. I didn't know that.
Do you know the?
I didn't know that. I didn't know the explanation. That makes a lot of sense. But my point of view is this: even if the act of playing with diary did not have some logical meaning or some symbolism behind it,
Yes.
even if it was just a fact that some way somehow came to unite people, that we came, this is what we do. There's value in that alone. The fact that this represents our way of life. It's just, you can pinpoint to any sort of groups in society where you come to do certain things, certain rituals become yours.
Yes.
So it doesn't even have to have a deep meaning behind it. That's my point. The fact that unity itself is worth it for its own sake. Yeah. That this is how we move, this is how we do this. And once this is done, our perception as a collective is, okay, this is legit. My older brother also is in the process of getting married. As I told you, this is a multi-event affair. So now being grown, I now also was part of the contributing. to the diary.
Yes.
And that dawned on me. I'm like, wow, these things were happening behind the scenes when I was a kid. Now I'm also a grown man, and it's also on me to put my touch on it,
Yes.
symbolizing an approval, a welcome,
A blessing.
Yes.
It's a blessing to this union.
Yes.
A commitment to it. In
Yes.
such a way that if your brother is no longer there, you are there.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be there for the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I found it to be a beautiful thing. Yet it is looked at in a Western societies as barbarity, like selling the girl. And and there is a misunderstanding. And the truth is, these conversations are not had with kids like us who moved on, kids that who live in the city, kids who move on to other countries. And when they address our culture in those terms, there can be even something of shame about your culture. And you talk for a culture that sells girls on wedding, how backward and weird is that? It's because apparently our parents were too busy surviving, were too busy providing for us, and they lacked this important catch of sharing our stories, our culture. And I am very blessed to have had for a period of time my grandmother, who was, without a doubt, a greatest storyteller in the universe, who told us all these old stories about our cultures, not to teach us culture, just to tell us stories of the childhood. And the reason they did things. And that awakened my understanding of what we do culture. And awakened also my worry about the direction you're taking. Like for example, in a major way, one major thing that bothers me about your culture is no further than you and I, at least me, where I grew up, there was still this tendency of that a person is created by his community. Every African group, every African, that is one of those things that is transcend the cultures of Africa.
Yes.
A person is made by his community. The Zulu will say, Umuntu, Ubuntu.
That's
Ubuntu,
Yeah.
something. There's a phrase, and in Swahili, these terms that express that a human being or a good human being is made by the community, not by just two humans. No. So me growing up, there is something that we would do. We would say, if I meet, even to this day, if I meet Ben's mom, I will not address her by her name. That would be madness. That
It's inconceivable.
unbelievable. It will be mom. That would be poker. Mom. I meet here the mom of my friend. They are moms, and guess what? They treat us like they are children. Ben's mom talks to me. She has the same joy of talking to Ben. Same for my mom. I remember growing up, the kids in the summer we were free. So unlike in America, in my generation, at least I think it's changing at home to my great sadness. And that was the one I addressed. We were free to roam and play. So we lived I leave my house early in the morning. My friends are waiting to me outside. We're going to play soccer and compete in neighborhood steals.
Yes.
Right? I would go where we're supposed to be. So here was the situation. When you're a group of kids, you can go misbehave, right? Because you are far away from your covering, your supervision, which is your parents and your mother. So when kids are not supervised by their father, their mother, they tend to brush the boundary. And that's why you misbehave. That's why it's important to have a parent at home. That's why it's illegal in America to have kids supervised, because it is dangerous for the kid. But in Africa, it was safe. Why? Because when my friends and I went, and then we went to climb some random person mango tree and steal their mangoes, that lady grabs us and whooped us, all of us. So we all got whooped by that lady. She took us home. She said, I just whooped them because they did this. She said, really? Thank you for whooping them. And we got more whooping at home. So at the end of the day, we live in this almost centralized, I don't want to say centralized, but actually more decentralized parenting circle where we have to behave everywhere because every parent watching was an enforcer of who you're supposed to be as a person.
Factual.
And we are losing that, I think.
It's funny that you went there because that's a perfect segue to what I had in mind for this conversation.
Yeah.
I want to underline something here.
Mhm.
The fear of ever being kidnapped. I never had that.
Labor.
I never knew that that was a thing. I never knew that that was a thing growing up. It's only until I got to America that I realized, like, cool. People actually kidnap kids off the streets, and how could you even get away with that back home? Because all the adults have they're watching.
You talk to the man, how are you gonna kill that kid?
You can take a kid who's screaming, and you think people are just gonna
Any
mind the
adult
business.
in
Oh no!
in a neighborhood will consider that kid their own. And they will get to you quickly with this.
If you get got, if they put their hands on you, because I've seen that.
Should I share some of the from
I don't want YouTube. I don't want YouTube to flag our thing, but let's just say
we can use intelligent and careful language because this is to this day is one of the traumatic things, most traumatic things that I've seen as a child. But no, you don't. You don't hurt children.
You do not hurt children. You do not steal. You do not harm the good of the community
Yes.
large.
Yes.
Otherwise, the punishment, and at times, the punishment is too severe.
Too severe, yes. It's distorted. Yeah, there is something. The community knows the things that they could tell the most. And they are women and they are children.
Yeah.
And it is, thank God, it is still anchored, even despite the modernization. The separatism, that kind of modernization. Like, for example, growing up, nobody did babysitters. No, that's badness. That's true. Because you go to work, you come back. My mom went to work, my dad went to work. Left us at home. There was aunties, there was mama, la mama de Steve, Mama Steve, yes. All those moms around. Yeah. When they return, their kids will be fed. Yes. Their kids played safely. At my house, I remember we were still in high school. We all come, my house was weirdly located almost in the middle of, it was almost in the middle of everywhere. Everybody could get there. So my mom, what she planned for lunch, she planned for lunch for all the kids that are gonna come with Christian. So she was telling me that her budgets for lunch disappeared when I left because everybody was fed.
I've eaten a few lunches at his home.
Yes, it's just one of those things. So yeah. That's exactly how we grew up, and it is catastrophic because I have a memory. That's what I'm talking about kidnapping. A memory that, that exposes to which extent we want to protect this. This is African wisdom. And since we're talking about African wisdom, when we grasp one, I think it is wise to state it.
Yes.
Number one African wisdom that I feel that is general, almost cross-cultural in Africa.
It transcends, yes, the dialects, the barriers of land, yeah.
The community is responsible for raising proper gentlemen, proper young ladies. It's not just the parents, but the entire community. The entire community is worried about you when you're misbehaving. The entire community is hurt by your misbehavior and corrects it. And the entire community rejoices when you do well. When you succeed, it is that everybody comes to your house to party. They're proud of you because you are their own.
Yeah.
When you're from their tribe and you're a president, even though I fight tribalism for some reason, but that's a discussion another day. But your entire tribe feel pride, even though they've never met you, because you're one of them. That is important, and I think that is African wisdom that could be and should be shared with the world. Our community needs to take responsibility for the raising of proper, well-adjusted children. It's important, I come from Goma, this is in Southern Congo. Then the idea that they wanted to share is that at some point we were always under rebel attack, right, in some way. So which played a role in starting to change the freedom that parents let their kids have. But it was so the idea of freedom and to be free is such a innate idea for every human being that the kids revolted. He didn't want to be kept in prison. He knew it was to play with each other. And so we would go play. And then eventually one day these bullets go everywhere. But the kids, they're all separate. So there was mismatched kids. Every parent went outside of his house to go visually play in the streets and grab every kid they could get their hands on and kept them to safety. All of a sudden, all the streets were empty, but most kids were in strangers' houses, being protected. And then the parents call each other. Oh, don't worry about Christian is in my house. Don't worry about Dieudonné is in my house. Don't worry about, and there was this thing where eventually the camp came up and there was an exchange of children. Everybody returned to go. If all they have already ate, so every kid was taken care of safely. Can you imagine if the situation happened in America? It is a sort of disaster, and then your kids were outside, and then they are not in your possession. Which kind of panic would you have as a parent in America?
And here in America, apprehending somebody scared, I think that's called kidnapping. So yes, you can't just take somebody scared off the street. Yes, but as I said earlier, when I approached this conversation, I thought about philosophies in general, and there's one that's somewhat well known. People who have investigated this topic before, and it's a term coming from, I think it hails from South Africa, Ubuntu, Zulu, right? So that is really the idea. That one has really hit me in a way that is significant, because as I look back in my life, wow, even all that we're talking about is a version of it. The idea of communal harmony, that the betterment of the community is directly linked to my personal betterment. So it is in my utmost interest to make sure that everybody around me is also well. So this idea of togetherness, it's always been a way of life for us. And a few examples that, because I grew up in it. I didn't have a word to put behind it, but you grew up since I was a very little kid. You find out that by the grace of God, my father always had more means than some of his brothers. I mean, he's the oldest one too. So growing up, we always had one of my cousins at home, because their parents were not in the position to take care of them properly, to pay for the tuition, to pay for the schooling, or the housing, or food. Yeah. So at every stage of my life, as far back as I can remember, we always had at least one or two cousins at home. To this day, we have 3. So I've never questioned that as something odd. And you better believe I never called them cousins. They were brothers, and they respect this. That is Judah. Yes.
I also grew up with my aunts. My aunt, she was young. She was 2 years, so she grew up with us. She's 13. She's my older sister to me. That's the kind of emotion I have relating to her. And just this closeness that's created by African culture. Almost every family is doing well. Every kids coming from other members of the family, take care of them.
Yes.
Because that is what we do.
That's what we do.
We take care of our community. That is true. And, it is interesting. I look at African culture, and what I think you thought that just jumped from my mind, that would be maybe a change of topic in somewhere.
Okay.
Is that a lot of the negative connotation with stereotypical African behavior comes from misunderstanding their origins. Like, for example, there is a African stereotype that African always late. Today's. Though African are never in a hurry. And I was looking into those, like, okay, why is that the case? Because it's a way I didn't want the lack of punctuality to be something that we accept as a culture.
Yes.
I want to do my best. I mean, I'm not aggressive about time. I mean, if it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, I'm not going to freak out. But I just want, if we say we're going to meet, let me meet 3 hours later. 2 hours. So I was looking into that. And I came across this phrase, and this is Swahili. So it was I was able to understand, because I do speak Swahili. So I was able to understand it. It was haraka haraka aina baraka. So it's a term they use to say that there is no blessing in Russian. There's no blessing in Russian. That's the term. And where did it come from? It comes from this spiritual idea of African spirituality that is almost general. African spirituality is a lot of community denominated different practices. This is a lot of communality and common points that comes from an important cultural point of view that we need to be still and we need to learn to take in experiences. Do not let the watch dictate how we're gonna take in this conversation. So if you go to you're walking to an African village and you sit down with an elder and you are talking, well, to the elder, that one is dealing with you, that other is. There is no schedule that is more important. This is just what happened. I thought it was beautiful. Obviously it's not effective. It's not you cannot really make it work effectively. But that the idea of being present, ahaka haka ina baraka, was absolutely. I see it traces even in the rules of people are late. Usually people are late because they're taking their car to their family members too long. They consider it too sweet. I couldn't be, etc. So yes, we need to be punctual, but we need to understand also how to be punctual, but not forget to be present,
to live in the moment.
Yeah. So this will be the second African wisdom: live in the moment, be present.
There is undeniably this sense of slowness back home that I don't remember too many times in my life back home. And I left, my country origin when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't remember many instances where the clock was such like a predator chasing me.
A restraint,
right?
Like
I don't I am somebody who values punctuality more than most. But I don't remember back home things being rushed, even going to work, even taking a break, a lunch, or going on vacation, all these things needing a break. Here in America, we're used to things happening, really fast.
Yes.
So you have to be here this time, because everybody depends on you, all that stuff, which is part of the game. It is what it is. And that's something that I hear often from strangers that I get to meet, who have visited back home. Like, man, things will seem to be rushed. You don't have fast schools. I mean, modern societies that are more like cities like Nairobi, or Cape Town, or those places. I'm sure they had a few fast foods around. Maybe if you're not. Don't worry about it. The concept of fast food is something I never had growing up.
Usually, food you sit around your family.
Yes, you sit around your family, and
there's no way plate. Remember they to eat with the
yes on the same plate, and
I miss that.
It never crossed my mind that okay, I'm gonna pay for food at a restaurant and I need my food now. That is just in my it was not even something that I thought about. Now I appreciate it, I'm a businessman, I'm somebody who understands value, but I do miss that illusion that nothing else matters. We're just here. We're floating on a rock, floating in space on this big rod that is moving fast. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. Let's enjoy life. Let's be present. That feeling I haven't had in a long time.
I mean, that is true. It's true. And also, there is this. Are we better? Are we better for giving punctuality that much importance? Is something that's better in general? Who is better off? Us or who?
Well, then you have to define what we're the metric that we're gauging. It's productivity.
Yeah, productivity, intensity around time. Not the productivity, because the productivity are all way. They do produce things. It's just this intensity about punctuality. Does it add to us as human beings in the human experience? Does it add to us, or does it take away something from us? I honestly don't know. I'm just looking at my day-to-day, for example. I'd be frustrated the day because I just feel behind. I need to finish the work I'm working on, the gig I'm writing. I need to deal with the thing for the Jew. We get to the small precision. I still have responsibilities. My day is gone already. And now, the fact that this clock is on me, it has been ruining my day since morning. I just woke up, I look at my spawn message, I got messages from partners or people that tells me that I have to add things to my schedule already.
Yes.
So from the moment I woke up, I knew I no longer have enough time to do what I need to do. And now I'm frustrated all day. I'm in the gym and I'm frustrated. My workout is shorter because I know I need to save as much time as I can. Shopping, I'm impatient today. So this has affected my entire day. And this is not a particular day. I experienced this in multiple days here and there. Here and there. You're more crazy about time than me, so probably you experienced this more than me.
Yes.
And are we losing something?
I've never dared ask that question. I think it's a fantastic question because on most days, feeling rushed has become almost an accepted part of life.
And when you're rushed, you're just enjoying life.
Yeah, so feeling rushed, thinking to myself, well, Christian needs me for this, Megan needs me for this person is swinging the call for me. I need to show up, need to be there. Something about that was not a part of my experience growing up.
Yes.
So how is there a way? Is there a way to reconcile the two? Is there a way to let go of some of the speed of events of life? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I mean, speaking of mindset, as you know, we're all about having the greatest mindset as possible, how you approach life and the perspective you have on life. Our common teacher, Peter Sage, taught us that there's no such thing as time management, and oftentimes it's just the person not knowing how to say no often enough.
Yes.
It's just a matter of saying no to enough things. And that creates another problem for me on my own path. So what do I say no to? It doesn't seem to me like, in fact, I'm already stretched so thin with the essentials. Yeah. What do I cut it out?
But should we be stretched in with essentials? Is it something that we're missing? Because I'm ashamed to say, I looked down to this lack of seemingly respect for time at home. It annoyed me because a lot of what I do, my activities are at home, and I will struggle to get people on my good meetings all the way together at the same time. And then they will show up and they're completely comfortable. We are 20 minutes late.
My blood is boiling.
And if it's listen, if I'm upset about a time thing, that one then actually will be gone already. So I'm like, and they're so comfortable. Like, oh, sorry, that we are late, but we are here now. I'm like, what do you mean you're here now? 20 minutes of my life, I've been here waiting for you. All of us.
This is love time for us.
Yes,
to do some significant things.
So we are here with we live in the other part of the world. Some of our team members live in different time zones. We have orchestrated this meeting online together. We are waiting on you. I will not say your name because this is actually a real story. We're waiting on you to show up on the call. Because you have data to share with us. You heard us having small talk for 20 minutes. And there is no dirt in your face.
Maybe I should hit the brakes and not just view that in a negative light.
Yes.
Maybe I'm the one who's wrong here.
No, and I'm not sure to express why the validity of being frustrated with this. But then in practice, because at the end of the day, this love we experience, the love we live, the quality, that's all that matters for us. It is really, as the Bible says, vapor. It is nothing. So if we are holding on to values that diminish the quality of this type that we have on earth consistently, without questioning them, you're being irresponsible.
And there's ideology. I'm speaking French. There's reason to reconsider those values.
Yes.
Are these even values in the first place?
Yeah. Do they add something to matter? Yeah. And honestly, I've never thought of this. This is the first time.
Yeah, I'll never thought about that either.
Because the fact is, our parents get things done. Though they're that culture, all the animals are taken care of. The chance taken care of. Even in more modern times, your dad take care of his things. Your mom takes care of their things. Everything is done. This is what it is. They are very competitive. If you're organizing a wedding in America, is a schedule. In Africa, it's not the case. But get what? I've never experienced a funner American wedding than an African wedding.
Vibes.
There's never in Africa. Every African wedding I had the blessing to be at was a memorable event.
A complex machinery involving all the aunts. Yes, all the aunts and the uncles, and yet in the end,
it happened, and nobody was really that worried about time.
Yeah.
And
wow, that is this one is a thinker right here.
it is a thinker for me because today I didn't enjoy my day. From the moment I wake up and pick up my phone, I knew I had to go read document to sort of respond to a message. I knew that that is an added 2 hours of my day. And I'm like, oh my God, this day I have to record, I have to whatever. I don't get another 2 hours. All of a sudden, I'm frustrated.
Does it have to do with our nature, maybe? The nature of our calling, because we're called to lead into these things. And as a leader, this is one painful lesson that I've learned about leadership is people that you lead, you only care about their thing. Is that I am supposed to do this, I've done it, I don't care. Now, you're the person who's leading. Leading is to serve, really. And that's very, very true. I used to think that was just an empty platitude.
No.
It's to serve. You're setting up your people for them to be as successful as possible and as happy as possible. And nobody's doing that for you. So I started to think maybe it's par for the course that I am the one who has to make sure that, okay, the schedule is set. Because guess what? If your leader was out there in chaos, you don't want chaos. Now, maybe it's just a part of the game for us, I guess. That it's for us to feel the pain of we paid the price so that our people can live at peace. Not concerned about time, not concerned about the operations, not concerned about.
But you know the challenge, just though.
Please.
Yeah. Like I've watched my father lead for years. So in watched my father lead years. I'm working in this environment. I'm not just in work areas, even in family. Yes, is in family, the split. This is where that partner they go to. For our situation, that parents, it's your father is wife. So we see this meeting coming when they are home. They've been able to lead with them adding an emphasis into this maturity. This aggressive importance given to the flowing of this imaginary thing that we call time.
Imaginary is true. We are the only beings that keep track of time. That cares.
Is that? No. Because I remember the first time I called that idea was in the book called The Mask of God, I think, by Campbell, the guy.
Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell.
Number of different
His books are different. But I love the law because it tells a lot of stories, and that is true. The only animal who is so concerned about the ticking of a clock with a subdivision of time that was completely imaginary, completely manufactured is us. And now it is causing pain. I can say right now, honestly, among the biggest pain points about our common work is that. That is the almost central pain point because you want to do work, but I have a podcast to do. You have a meeting with the truth. You have to do carpings. You have stuff to read Megan. I have to write the book I'm writing. I have to meet with the editor. You know what I mean? It has become the only problem in our working is just time. It's causing that pain. An imaginary thing is causing that pain, and we're looking down to the people who refuse to let it cause them pain. Who's wise?
Yeah, that.
This is disturbing.
That one.
This is disturbing thought to our cost. I don't know.
Because I'm like, do this mental exercise with me.
Yes.
Well, imagine you wake up tomorrow.
Yes.
You throw away every and anything that keeps track of time.
Yes.
If there's a way to hide time from your phone, from your watches, or don't even wear a watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a better quality of life in the end? As a simple now, this is an extreme. This is way.
Extremes cause different things. Extremes create clarity in some way. Let's think about it. I have a huge task. Like for example, right now, one of the major tasks is to do the taxes for the non-profit and non-taxes for a whatever. I've been pushing this funding, but the deadline is creeping up. Why am I pushing the funding? Is because I say I'm on a fire. Oh, Christian, we need blah, blah, blah. What time? I say I'm on a file. I'm scheduled to do worship at church. So there's this time block that I cannot do. I come back in the morning. There's this time block that I have to work on these things because I open the episode to be posted or the analytics on it. I owe Jaro information because now he wants to be part of the analytics process, whatever. So as I'm going through this situation, I'm like, okay, you know what? I want the free time to do this. I have to push it. I've been pushing it since ago. So like since February, I would have done. My data is in May, so now I have to do it. Now it has to be done, but it's like a wound of the soul to push down an important task consistently. I don't know if it's just me.
Oh yeah.
When somehow I look at my things and I have to push down a task that I believe to be important, it's like cheap scenario.
It signals to me at least that okay, I'm not a procrastinator, and I pride myself on being somebody who does things, who actually fulfills a responsibility. And if I keep pushing it, I mean, speaking of taxes, that very issue as well. I did my taxes on the 14th. We do on the 15th. Oh, you did on the last? Yes, the day before. And this particular issue of time, I had no idea this conversation would flow this way. But
you see, we never know.
We have many issues in life. At this stage of our growth, as we are young leaders and growing into who we're meant to be, we still feel the pain associated to money, to resources in many ways. Problems about money, they will end when money is there.
Yes.
This particular problem, it's that for some reason, this is the epitome. It epitomizes the expression, the elephant in the room. It is a big issue that some way, somehow, I've learned to live with. It's a dysfunction that I've come to accept. Yeah, I don't know when and if it will end. And that is a problem that is hitting me right now, this very moment.
It's really a problem today. For me, as I'm realizing it, oh my God, this is like we're doing some soul searching life, because right now, for example, at church, a lot of people are inviting me to the lunch time. On Sunday, to have it go have sushi.
They're big frows on my Sunday.
Something is missing.
I don't know what the right approach is, but this is not it. This thinking that the rest of my life, with billions and all that money that is to come,
yes,
and this still being a problem,
no.
And both of us right now, we still don't have kids, and those beings will do. You don't even have a choice. All of a sudden, you have somebody in there. My time, and
it's not like no matter how much money we make, it's not like we are planning to stop building, some creating.
Yes,
it's just some people are just made to create, to conquer, to whatever. I believe we are one of those people we want to create continuously.
Yes,
we will not be happy if you're not adding value forward. It's just impossible. So this question is not ending. It's not continuing. And as I'm speaking to you right now, for the B.E.E.F podcast, for example, it has been the biggest issue. My brother is too relaxed. I tell you, okay, when we go and meet, I ate 8:05. He said me, oh, can we meet in half an hour? Now, my attitude is very different half an hour later as we're meeting to record this thing. And then we're recording, and then we don't do tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't show up at the time. We send me a message later on, blah, 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 blah. This happened. And it then seems to feel pain about this. What's up?
That is true. There's some pain behind being my peers back home.
There's no that. Me, that is pain for me. Even me having to be late for something you have to do. I have pain for being late. And also have pain for other people being late. It's letting other people, the outside affect my inner world. Why are we allowing this?
Yeah, there is the Tao. There is a balance there that is worth pursuing, and this is a new pursuit that is worthwhile. Because I know that completely throwing away my clock, I don't see how that improves my life. By being obsessed by it, I don't see how that improves my life.
Yes. And I found that, and I've discovered today that it's hurting my life.
Yeah. So, but because I remember the day of our wedding here in America, it's not like back home. you have your room for a booked 4 or 5, how much you pay for. I had my ballroom for 4 to 6 hours. I can't remember how much. But even that is laughable. My father is like, wait, well, they're going to kick us out at 10? That's going crazy. This is when things are getting interesting because the parties are going till 5 a.m. Anyway, but let's say it was 4 hours. I think it was close to 4 hours because we wanted to save cash. I tell my people, this thing is beginning at 6. We have the room from 6 to 10.
Hours on time.
We have the room from 6 to 10. And I kid you not, a group of my African folk, well-dressed, we don't play with that. Well-dressed, they pull up as a group. 2 hours late. They've missed our grand entrance. They've missed our speeches. They've missed all these things. They're showing up as people are starting to eat. I look at that and I felt the sense of embarrassment. I'm like, wow, okay. In fact, not embarrassment, rage.
I was about to say, I know we get each other.
This is bad luck. This is.
And in the comments of the Africans, I was there early, seated in my car, well dressed, waiting for the doors to open.
And they come and dab me up. And I'm not one of my weaknesses is that
no poker for no poker face.
And I play poker, which is another story. But you'll be able to tell that I'm not happy. I'm like 2 hours late and you come and dab me up and I'm paying. I know, congratulations. And they made it all their face. Oh, this is not.
I would. So
anyway,
do they have something that we don't? Are they closer? So I guess to move from this topic, this specific topic about the African wisdom, what you're trying to discover or trying to understand and see if you can improve that. Are the people back home closer to the Tao than we are? And by the Tao, I mean we mean the Satan point.
The point of harmony, the perfect balance.
This is the perfect balance. Yeah, we should talk about. I think we should discuss a book sometimes at some point.
Things will come around.
Yes. So we talk about a book that talks about that. Who's closer to the Tao? And I'm not talking just because close to the Tao needs to be qualified. So let's say close to the Tao for quality of life. Yes. Because that is what, at the end of the day, that is what it's about. Not productivity, because productivity is digital as
when it comes to stress,
yes,
which is one of the biggest plagues in our society,
the most destructive thing.
When it comes to stress, and as it pertains to this issue of time, therefore I stress the fact they have none. So from that perspective, is being more productive, more valuable than
being devoid of stress and devoid of.
You may not have the resources that I had. You may not have the success that I have as society defines it.
Yeah.
But you're stress-free. You're unreliable when it comes to time. You may or may not show up. But every time I see you have a smile on your face and you're enjoying your life, I don't know which one is. I'm inclined, if push comes to shove, I have to pick. I pick a life of productivity. Because I think that is one of the contributions that I'm called to make in this world. I have to be productive. Whatever the downsides come with it, I'll deal with it. But maybe I don't have to settle for something so extreme. Maybe there is
Are we unhealthy? Honestly, now all of a sudden I feel like I've been unhealthy. Why did I not to change my day today? Why?
Because you have a tick tock in your head. When you might be the only one, and the people that you're dealing with. That's fun. Anyway.
I ruined a good part of my day. And it affected, and that affected the entire week. In the way we buy food, in the way I plan dishes, and whatever. It was just basic. There was no fun, no creativity, no nothing. I'm not planning to do anything other than the whatever.
Hey, what's on the quotation?
Not only one day is affected, but a series of days affected. And I want this compounding. Where every other day, this is a time pressure. Now there are days that I know are frustrating day for me. Wednesday and Thursdays. How can I lose 2 days of my week?
This must be very similar to somebody who lives day check to day check. That you don't even have your money in your hands. Yeah, it's work, but your money's already gone. You know, it's already gone, and even in the extreme case where you're already in the negative, you don't even have to check in your hand,
and you know that it's gone. So you know that you're still if you are lucky at the end of the check, you'll be at 0.
Mm-hmm.
And time is more of this
experience. In fact, this is exactly the same, maybe even worse.
And what is worse because you trust in someone. You have to understand this. You and I are choosing this.
And now, for lack of better alternative so far.
If we explode, I don't know about you. This is the first time, honestly, this is a brand new occurrence for me in this exchange, which is the nature of most of our conversation.
Yes.
We have a lot of brand new occurrences. We're just recording them. So this is the nature of this. It just occurs to me that there is something that is harmful. But what is wisdom here? People, if you're watching this happens, because we don't know. If you are in our shoes, some of you are in our shoes, and use the comment section, and you have an idea of what would be the best adjustment for people in our situation to do, please share. Because I cannot think of one yet, but I know that this discovery demands that I share something about the way I'm going about my life, about time, about the way time is almost ruling my days, and I'm realizing that it is not healthy, but at the same time, it is absolutely not practical not to have it. How am I going to meet with people that live different time zones all over the world consistently without having this very useful, practical, yet imaginary measure of time respected? How do I do that?
Speaking of respect and time, I know we can't keep you guys for too long, but to me, two parting thoughts for me. Number one, I know one of my favorite teachers, Peter Sage, that name shall come up a lot because he's been that impactful in my life. This notion of saying no to the correct things. What I know, my next step, at least for me, is to look at my calendar and
just say,
consider, are there things I'm saying no to that I've not been saying no to? That is definitely a starting point. The starting point for me. Am I doing too many things that I need to say no to? I don't know. I don't know yet. But there's no other way. Things have to go. Unless somebody finds it's technology that lengthens the days of your life or gives you 24 hours, 26 hours in a day. It's a matter of saying no.
Do you want to realize?
It's a matter of saying no.
You think that is the next iteration of success? People that really figure out, that's what we want to get. You leverage their time so properly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the earned right to be cheered.
Richard Branson.
Oh, just honestly, when it comes to how a billionaire should live, for me, that is guys the model. But could it just be that we just have to pay the price until we're in a place where we have earned the right to do so?
Now, even that like we have that light already for many teachers, and the most recent one to give me this tip is my pastor, Craig Rochelle, a leader, an exceptional leader in what he does. He said, as a leader, my job is to figure out the least amount, basically the very bare minimum of things that only I can do, and do those, and then outsource the rest. Which is not something easy for most to do. I don't think it's that hard. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But delegating. So this is about delegation. Delegation and saying no to things. Those are the two things the two tips as I search my library of all the books that I've read, all these seminars and conferences.
So what's
delegating and then saying no.
And what do I say no to?
Hey, that's a doozy as we start to fling this conversation.
All right, people. I mean, I don't know about study concluding. We are concluding. The time is flown, and I feel like there is still much more to be talked about in this topic, because as we're concluding, I have a lot of other train of thought that would explore this culture. But at least when we think about the wisdom of African culture and looking at it as a unit, so trying to figure out what works cross-culturally in the identity of Africa, we came up with two major things today. was a very good concern. And the one thing we came about was the idea that the individual is created by the community.
Yep.
The great quality of human being are created by the community. Now, this is a problem. I live in America, and when you have a young fella who is soon his first child, is so abandoned, so isolated that they end up being up a gun and shooting at the kids, is the fault of the community. That is unthinkable in our society. To arm your own community in that way, and why that's what happens when you're abandoned from the community. So that is African wisdom that maybe you might wanna affect in your community, add to your communities. And the next one has been new and exploration question about this intensity that we have of time and punctuality compared to what is known as a negative stereotype of Africans being lax and relaxed about time. Because I must admit, it always been. It always been even more. And we are questioning now who is in the right. Is it us? Is it them? Does it matter? So all those things are on the table. But this is the natural demise of the conversation, I believe. We say goodbye. We could have enough to talk about.
It's their fault, he said. Yeah, until next time.
Goodbye.